Alrighty, hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to build and use the automatic Hephaestus Forge. In a minute I'll show you how to build this thing. There's nothing too much about it, but when you are going to build this, know the Hephaestus Forge on top of it can still be used in case you have already set up a tier 5 or tier 1 Hephaestus Forge. I don't know how you got this with a tier 1 Hephaestus Forge, but at least before you do anything, try to get a tier 5 Hephaestus Forge before you do anything related to the multi-block structures. And right now, I'll show you how to do the Hephaestus Forge a little bit easier. I'm going to show you a couple of tips related to getting souls, aureal, blood, and experience. Getting aureal first is going to be quite easy. It's more or less just slow. Letting these 4 or 8 crystal obelisks do its work, it's kind of slow. You want to increase the speed. You can do so with time in a bottle, time wand, and maybe soul surging. I haven't tried that yet, but anyways, you can use the time crystals and the time wand to speed up the arcane crystal obelisk, like so. If you look in here, you'll start to see the aureal go up quite quickly. As you can see, it just jumped up by like 500. And now to get the souls, it's a little harder. You need to find a way to get a good amount of edelwood or edelwood, however you want to pronounce this. You can do this 2 ways, like it says here, a wandering trader or using a corrupt soul on a oak sapling. If I were to grab a corrupt soul and an oak sapling, were to do this and right click it, as you can see, you can get growing edelwood. Once you grow this and you get edelwood logs, you can turn them into edelwood planks, and eventually you can get soul extractors. Now, you want to get a lot of these. You cannot enchant them with unbreaking or mending or anything, at least as far as I know. You just want to be able to autocraft all of these resources with either refined storage or applied energetics, which I would also prefer you get into before you start doing this, because you definitely need to be around mid game or late game before you want to start doing all the crazy stuff related to this mod. You can definitely do it very early on, and with enough tedious work, you could probably get everything down, but I don't see the value in that, so I really recommend getting at least applied energetics down. But at least, now you have the soul extractor, we want to automate getting these souls, because if you put them in here, you should start filling up this little bar here. For that, we're going to need an advanced clicker from the Just Dire Things mod, a block placer from any mod or anything that places blocks. For this example, I will be using the advanced one from Just Dire Things. And you need something to pick up the items that drop. I myself use the item collector, the advanced version, with any chest. Now, all you need to do is put down a clicker, an advanced block placer, get some soul sand, put the soul sand inside of the advanced block breaker, and then you need to get yourself some power. As you can see here, like so. Now, in the advanced clicker, you want to set the right click here to hold click. And as far as I know, you need to set this to 45 seconds, and once you insert a soul extractor, it should start extracting souls. Now, the problem here is you'll get soulless sand, and to get rid of that, you need a block breaker. You can also use the Just Dire Things for this one. And as far as I'm aware, just power it. We'll break it a little bit quicker. You can also probably use modular routers. Those are way better. And make sure to filter out the soul sand so it doesn't break the soul sand. And it only breaks the soulless sand. Now, as you can see, we are dropping the soulless sands and the souls. But for this, you're probably going to need 2 chests. Don't know why I've trapped ones here. One for the souls and one for the soulless sand. Like so. Just whitelist soulless sand, and here whitelist the souls itself. Then If I drop these two, it should be split between these two chests, and now I have automatic souls. You just need to find a way to import and auto-craft these soul extractors, soul sand, and get rid of all the soulless sand, as this has practically no use. So you're free to just void these items. And just like the arcane obelisks, you can also increase the speed of the clicker in order for the soul sand to disappear faster. But anyways, now you have the souls automated. The only problems are blood and experience, and in my opinion, those are the easiest. To get bottles of enchanting, it's quite easy. It's just getting the experience droplet in a glass bottle, and the experience droplets can easily be made with experience essence, which are gettable by obtaining the experience seeds with experience capsules. These are really easy to make, and honestly, I think it's a good idea to just completely skip expetrified orbs, besides the fact that you do need them for the Eternal Stella. So do not use these for experience, but do use them for this item instead. Anyways, now to insert the bottles of enchanting. See, like so. It's quite easy. Alrighty. So to get the blood for the Hephaestus Forge, all you're going to need is a spawner, a mob masher, and an entity conveyor. Of course, a redstone block is below this to turn the mob masher on. If you wish, you can put some upgrades in here and as well speed up the monster spawner. And once the mobs fall into the mob masher, they should give you blood. In this example, I am using the mob masher and a villager. You can use anything else to kill the mobs and or to spawn. I like using villagers because they do not drop any XP or items, meaning you don't have to filter out any items into a trash can. You can simply just put down the spawner, the mob masher, the conveyors, and you're done. That's all you have to do just to get yourself some blood. Now, to speed this thing up, and if you want to get blood whilst you're far away, grab yourself another star. Like so. Now, as you can see, the villagers spawning quite quickly. You're definitely going to need a sharpness upgrade in here. One of them to die instantly. What is happening to you? Alright. Now, if we go up, check in the Hephaestus Forge, as you can see, we're also now gaining blood. And that's all the resources. So that's basically everything for automating this. Now, let's get into what you're really here for, and that's the automatic Hephaestus Forge. To make this thing, of course, you need the block, and I'd say you need any wrench, because when you place this automatic Hephaestus Forge, and you hold your wrench, you see all the blocks required to make the build. Now, I'm going to show you a time lapse on screen of me doing it, but everything here should be quite straightforward. Alrighty, so once the automatic Hephaestus Forge has been built, you need the valves. Like I stated before, you can still use the tier 5 Hephaestus Forge on top of the multi-block structure to get these valves, but let's just get into this. And, let's get the fluid input. You need at least 2 of these. And you need for the automatic forge you need 4, because you're going to need all of the liquids. An item input, an item output, and an energy input, and any source of power. Now, these things, once held in hand, you can place these anywhere on the sides here. Doesn't really matter where you put them. I'm just going to scramble them about. So I put this here, should power it. All right. Now we need to start inserting the fluids. Now, to get these fluids, you need a Runic Crucible. For these Runic Crucibles, you need the block itself. And you probably need 2 of them, because you're going to need to make liquid souls and aureal with these. So just like the automatic Hephaestus forge, for the crucibles, hold up your wrench and you'll see the multi-block structure. To build these, just simply follow the structure. It's as easy as that. So let's go ahead and do this. See you in 3, 2, 1. Boom. And we're done. Now, when you are making these, you can use the copy paste gadget. The orientation of this doesn't really matter as long as you put the Runic Crucible where you want at the end and fill up the hole with the polished darkstone stairs. And then besides that, the quantum injector doesn't transfer over, sadly. So you need to put that down yourself. But besides that, you can definitely use yourself the copy paste gadget. Now, once these are done, the same thing, you need some input hatches, 2 fluids for the XP and the liquid source, which we'll get into later, the runic item input hatch to input the items required to make this, the things you need, and instead of a fluid input, you need a fluid output hatch. And for every machine, you will also need the energy input hatch with a energy source. Anyways, once you have the input hatches, it's quite simple from this point on. All you need for the aureal is an eternal water block or anything that gives you a lot of water. You need liquid source, which you can get here. Put that down and make sure to extract it with a pipe. Mechanical pipe. To start making the liquid aureal, you also need arcane dust. Arcane crystal dust. This. So put that in here. And then once that's done, you should start making yourself liquid aureal. This one's the simplest out of the bunch. It's just getting the source, which is quite easy. All you need for that is a source condenser, which can be easily crafted. You'll have to go into ours for that. But if you have this, just simply get some source next to it. For example, vitalic source links. If you put it under here next to the villager killer, for example, just put some vitalic source links down with your condensers, and then you could probably easily insert some good amounts of liquefied source. I have this connected to my mob farm. I have like 18 condensers and a whole bunch of vitalic source links. They should make you more than enough liquefied source to help you make all of these. Now, the same for this goes for the liquefied souls, but this one's a little bit more difficult, as you need to go to the end for this one. The reason for this is because you're going to need the soul trees, specifically the stripped one. I myself did download the bonsai tree, but you can also use lumber bees to make these. You will need to get the soul tree log first, and to get that, you need the soul tree sapling. Now, these can be found in cities, so if you've been there and thrown away one of these trees, yeah, good luck getting one again, because they're quite rare. I've discovered 10 end cities and gotten one of them, and as long as you don't lose them, you should have infinite of them, but just try to be a little bit more careful when going to the end. And if you do see these, make sure to grab them, because you do need them. Once you have that, you need to get some industrial foregoing set up, because you're going to need extractors, or fluid extractors, and of course, some power. So recommend grabbing some pipes, and then we'll get to setting this stuff up. So once you have the tree and you have it automated to get the logs, you can use a stripper block to turn the sultry log into the stripped version. You can, of course, use any axe in here. If you have that in here with a sultry log, you can get the stripped version. And using the stripped version, simply use any block placer, like from the Just Dire Things. Make sure it places the strip log in the middle of all of these fluid extractors. Throw in some upgrades by shift right clicking them with the tier 4s. If you don't have this, it's fine. You don't have to use the tier 4s, but just note, these things are very slow when not upgraded and not powered. So make sure you do that if you are going to do this thing. So I normally like to power them from the side like so, and then extract the fluids from the other two corners. This will affect all of the machines. And connect them together. Simply output to somewhere of your liking. Once that's done, just simply input your stripped sultry log. And this should break quite quickly, as you can see there. And now you'll have unrefined liquid souls. Now, it's not a whole lot, so you're going to need a lot of these sultries. But besides that, you should be fine. See now, 500 unrefined liquid souls. And using this unrefined liquid souls, we can then make normal souls. Let me quickly clear up my inventory again. So let's grab unrefined liquid souls. Then grab ourselves the fluid input hatches, put them down, and put down the export for the unrefined liquid souls. Make sure it pulls it and pushes it into the hatch. Once that's done, do the same thing you did there with the liquefied source. Like so. Then all you need to do is grab the item inputs, the fluid outputs, and the energy input. So item input, to input the souls. Should I grab a stack here? Then a energy input. And then a fluid output. As you can see here, it should start creating liquid souls. Now, this process is quite slow because the unrefined souls are really slow to obtain, and this too. But once you have this, you should have liquid aureal and liquid souls. Now, the rest is quite self-explanatory. If you have a mob farm, you should have XP. Same goes for blood, but the blood you'll need to do in a different way instead of what we have done down here. Instead of this, you're going to need to let these mobs fall on top of a powered singular sanguinary. Sanguinary?
Sanguinary.
Alright. Sanguinary. Anyways, once you have that sanguinary down with a spike plate on top of it, you will generate blood. You can simply pipe that out into the Hephaestus forge, and everything should be fine. You should have all the resources in here. But to actually make it work, you need yourself the runic attuned arcane crystals. And to get these, it's quite difficult. At least, not really. They were quite easy to get, in my opinion. A lot of people find the sentient ender quite difficult to get, which I understand if you look at the filled soul vial recipe, but this doesn't matter, as the filled soul vial you can also get by simply right-clicking a witch with the empty soul vial. It's that easy. Doesn't show you here, but it works. Then just using this with an ender resonator in a soul binding, you should easily be able to make yourself the sentient ender. Just automating this is a little bit worse. So let me click this real quick. Each upgrade gives you 512 EU per tick. Okay, thank you game for telling me I have a bunch of quests. And if you were to look at a recipe, the filled soul vial if you hover over the top here, you will see it requires at least plus 384 EU a tick of upgrades. And you need this in order to craft many things inside of this. And these stack, so you want to get as many of these you can, because you're going to need it. Same goes for if you want to make the star. As you can see, you need a lot of EU a tick of upgrades inside for this to be creatable. Now, that should be it for the automatic Hephaestus Forge. So that's basically it for the automatic Hephaestus Forge, and knowing this now is going to make it very easy for the other things related to this mod pack. For example, the star altar over here. Star altar. Anyways, you will need to fill up these jars, but besides that, it should be quite easy. Everything here is explained. You should be able to do all that yourself. I just had to clear up a couple of things I was confused about, and this is more straight to the point video about how to actually make these things work. Because a lot of videos I watched either was a full playthrough video or a guy just showing you how to build it, but not really explaining to you how to use the things. So, if you found this helpful, like, subscribe, my friend, and